Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial we are going to learn how to make this super easy beginner scarf. For today's project I'm going to use this worsted weight acrylic yarn in beige color, and the needles that I'm going to use is 5mm circular needles, but you can also go ahead and use straight needles for this project. So let's start the video. For casting on stitches I'm going to use the long tail cast on method. This is my preferred cast on method. You can cast on stitches using any method that you are comfortable with, but for educational purpose I'm going to show in detail the long tail cast on method if you are interested to learn. And if you want to skip this part, you can start the video from the timestamp that I'm going to include on the screen. For doing the long tail cast on method, we need to leave certain amount of yarn for the tail. So I'm leaving about 1 meter of yarn, and then next I'm going to make a slip knot. Once we have the slip knot, we are going to slip this onto our knitting needle, and we are going to hold this needle with our right hand. So this is called the tail, and this is called the working yarn, which is attached to the ball. And for doing the long tail cast on method, we are going to use both of these strands. You are going to hold the needle in your right hand, and we are going to use our left hand to work with these two yarns. So if we are doing long tail cast on method for the first time, it can seem a little bit odd because we are going to use our left hand very often, which is not the case when we are knitting in English style. But I would really encourage you to learn this technique, especially as a beginner, because it is a very versatile cast on method that you can use in so many projects. So let's go ahead and start doing the cast on. You're going to hold both of these yarns with your left hand. Just grab them like this, and with your thumb and forefinger we are going to split open them like this, and we are going to hold the yarn and the needle in this position. I'm going to do the next section super slowly. So with your right hand needle you are going to go under the thumb and stretch this yarn. So stretching this yarn is going to give you a small hole, you can see that, and we are going to pull this yarn through this hole. Grab the yarn and pull it through that hole. You are going to have a loop on your needle. Now you can let go of your thumb and pull down this yarn to tighten your stitch. And that is a long tail cast on. Let's do it a few more times. So you are going to grab both of these yarn strands with your left hand, split them open, and with your needle you are going to go under the thumb. It creates a hole. Pull this yarn through, let go of the thumb, and tighten the stitch. So this is how you do the long tail cast on method. If you're confused, you can watch the slow section a few more times and you can get the hang of it. So using this method we are going to cast on 40 stitches for this project. Here are the 40 stitches, and now we can go ahead and start our row number 1. So the stitches on your needles on the first row are going to be a little difficult to work with because the stitches are always a little bit tight on the first row, but it will get much more relaxed once you knit a few rows. So next I'm going to show you how to do a basic knit stitch. So each of these loops count as one stitch, and for doing a knit stitch we are going to work with front loop. So here you can see it has two loops, back loop and front loop. So the front loop is the one that faces you. Now we are going to insert our needle into the front loop from the below and form an X shape like this. Next, grab the working yarn and wrap it around your right needle and slide it in between the two needles like so. Now we are going to slowly slide down the right needle and pull through a loop on our right needle. Once you have this loop, you can let go of the stitch from your left hand needle, and that is how to do a knit stitch. Let's say it a few more times. You're going to insert your needle from below like so and wrap the yarn around the right needle. Next, you're going to pull through a loop and let go of this stitch from your left hand needle. This is a basic knit stitch, and using this method you are going to knit through all the stitches except the last one, which we are going to purl. Here's the last stitch and we are going to purl this one. For purling, bring your working yarn to the front, and this time we are going to insert our needle from the top of the front loop like so, and then wrap the yarn around your right hand needle anti-clockwise like this. Pull through a loop and let go of this stitch. This is how you do a purl stitch. We are going to start our row number 2 with a slip stitch. Slipping the first stitch is going to help us create the edge stitches. If you don't slip the first stitch, you are going to end up having a very rough looking edge, which is not something that we want since we are knitting a scarf and both of our edges are going to be visible. So you are going to slip the first stitch of every row. For doing a slip stitch, insert the needle knitwise and you are going to slip the stitch off the left hand needle without knitting this. Next, we have the working yarn already on the back. We can start knitting the stitches. So we are going to knit through all the stitches except the last one, which we are going to purl through. So continue to knit until you have the last stitch remaining. Here I am knitting the second last stitch. Now we are going to purl the very last stitch. And we have finished knitting our row 2 as well. And you can kind of see the garter stitch has started to form up. It is a reversible pattern, so it looks same on both the sides. Now let's move on to row number 3. Now it is simple, we just need to repeat this one row. We are going to start our row with a slip stitch and knit all the stitches in between except the last one and finish the row with a purl stitch. Continue to knit and I will update you after I have finished knitting a few rows, and I'll show you how the garter stitch and the edge stitch is going to look like. So here's a little update. So this is how the garter stitch is going to look like. It looks same on both the sides, and the slip stitch that we are doing helps us to create these neat looking edges. So next, just continue to knit your piece until your desired length, and I will show you how to do the bind off. For binding off stitches, I'm going to use a very simple bind off method. Start with the slip stitch and knit 1. Now we are going to pass the second stitch on our right hand needle over the first one. So take your left hand needle and you are going to lift the second stitch over the first one to bind off one stitch. Again knit one, lift the second stitch and pass it over the first one to bind off one stitch. This is a simple standard bind off method that you can use in any project which does not require any elastic bind off. So you're going to bind off all the stitches using this method. So it's a very simple bind off method that gives your finished piece a really nice look if done correctly. So while doing this bind off, you're going to keep your knitting tension very relaxed. It is going to give you this stretchy nice finish. If you try to keep the knitting tension too tight, it is going to create these scrunched up stitches. Right here you can see at the beginning I kept my tension too tight, so just keep that in mind.